I know this is a very sensitive situation, but what can you tell us about the UK's involvement in this? We know our planes were in the skies over Iraq and Syria. As you understand it, did they shoot anything down?
Well, this was an incredibly significant attack on Israel, and what I'm able to say at the moment, I hope viewers at home will understand, it's a live military situation. I am limited in what I can say at this point, and there will be updates through the day, but I can confirm that British planes were sent to the region as part of our what's called Operation Shader. That's our anti-Daesh initiative over Iraq and Syria. I'm not in a position at the moment to confirm or deny whether they took part in any of the activity you've just described, but more planes were sent to the region, and I'm told that they will intercept airborne missiles if they threaten the existing missions that the UK already undertaking in the region. But that does not, I'm just being very careful here, it doesn't necessarily mean that happened last night.
But does it mean that if there were more attacks like this, more Iranian drones being sent over to that part of the world with the aim of attacking Israel, they may shoot them down if there is another attack like this?
So the United Kingdom, along with our international allies, are very, very focused on
Why would Iran attack again? You've already mentioned in this show that Iran said they're not going to attack again and they consider the matter closed. So what you're saying is, well, actually, no, if Israel escalates it, we might see more Iranian attacks. But why are you not giving Israel any agency in any of this?
de-escalating this. We do not want this to go further. We all understand how difficult and sensitive it is in the region at the moment, and so all of our diplomatic efforts are in that vein. In terms of the jets or the resources that are in the region, they will protect existing missions, but that is as far as I can go.
In terms of what happens next, what would your message be to Israel now?
Well, the Foreign Secretary met his Iranian counterpart on Thursday to deliver the message very directly that Iran must not escalate matters in the region. We will continue.
Listen.
Iran isn't the one escalating. Israel is the one promising to escalate. Go and tell Israel to stop. Go and tell Israel not to do it. We've spoken to Iran, and even though they said they weren't going to attack, we've told them they can't do any more ones. Yeah, Israel are the one threatening to escalate.
We will continue with that message. We want this to be contained. What we want is an immediate humanitarian pause in the region so that we can get the hostages out that are still held captive, the Israeli hostages, victims of that horrific attack in October. We want to get humanitarian aid into the region as well. But we also have to look to the future, and so our approach has very much been about ensuring that the government of Palestine is in a position to really strengthen the two-state solution. Hamas cannot be part of that.
But forgive me, Secretary.
Are you saying the Palestinian government, or the government in Palestine? What's Palestine? You don't recognise a Palestinian state, Victoria.
A very long-term vision.
You mentioned that David Cameron, the Foreign Secretary, told the Iranians last week not to go ahead with an attack. They went ahead with an attack. For many months, the UK and increasingly also the US has been saying to Israel on the other side, you must be much more careful in the prosecution of their war in Gaza. There's not much evidence that they have been listening. So why do you think now the UK and the US might be able to persuade Iran and Israel not to take this further?
Because it's not just the US and the UK, of course. We have a range of free democracies who stand alongside Israel, which is, you know, the single democracy in that region, and we very much want to protect the freedoms that gives to the people of Israel. But we also want to work with the international community to ensure.
I think honestly, it's kind of crazy that they keep saying, "Oh, we're the only Israel's the only democracy in the region," when like Lebanon is right there. I know Lebanon is a very kind of flawed democracy, but they were elected officials in Lebanon. It's not like like a Jordanian king in Jordan, for example. They just try and give Israel this special privileged position just because it's westernized.
Does Labour support the UK providing assistance to Israel in this situation?
Well, we strongly condemn this attack by Iran on Israel, this reckless decision at a time when the international community has been urging restraint because everyone's greatest concern has been the potential escalation to a wider regional conflict.
Interesting, Yvette. That's an interesting position to take. How Iran gets attacked unprovoked. And your immediate concern is that they're being reckless by retaliating, that it risks wider escalation if tensions are inflamed by a retaliatory attack by Iran on Israel. Strange how then your leader, the leader of your party, the person who is your numero uno in charge person, when asked very similar questions about Israel, do you know what they said? Do you know the only thing he said was, I believe Israel does have that right. It is an ongoing situation, but obviously it has to be done within international law.
We strongly condemn the action that Iran has taken. It's really important that everyone is working now hard to prevent further escalation. We obviously don't have confirmation yet as to what engagement has taken place from the UK, and I think it's important that we wait to hear that. But clearly, I think it's really important that everything possible is done to prevent the further escalation, as the Prime Minister has said last night.
Can you tell us if...
Except none of these things were said. Because actually, broadly, the idea that we avoid wider escalation, great, 100% agree, totally on board with it. I've been on board with trying not to have further escalation within the Middle East. I know I've been on board with that for years, mate. I've been on board with that for decades. Us not indeed inflaming tensions in the Middle East, or anybody inflaming tensions in the Middle East. And I first of all will not have somebody try and talk to me about what inflaming tensions in the Middle East looks like, given the fact that they were very happy to let Israel do it, not just now, but also at the start of the conflict. But I'm definitely not going to take it from somebody who served in the government of the party of the Iraq War, the literal Iraq War cabinet. I will not let her dictate to anybody else what avoiding escalation in the Middle East looks like.
Keir Starmer was consulted before UK jets did get involved in this, whatever then happened, because in this kind of situation, it is quite normal for the opposition leader to be brought on a confidential basis into some of these conversations.
Again, I can't comment at this point on what discussions may or may not have taken place. Look, there are long-standing UK missions in the Middle East that, as you heard from Victoria Atkins, the government minister, are about preventing Daesh activity around Iraq and Syria, and we support those ongoing missions and the immensely professional work of our armed forces. But I think we still need to wait for the further information later today. The thing we do hope and expect to see, we do hope that there will be a statement from the Prime Minister in Parliament tomorrow. I think the seriousness of this, the real concerns about potential escalation mean that we do need to hear from the Prime Minister in Parliament tomorrow.
But are you...
All fine, all reasonable things to say.
Fucking neoliberalism.
Where was the concern over potential escalation at the start of the conflict? Where was it? Where was the concern for escalation when Israel was bombing targets in South Lebanon?
Fucking neoliberalism.
Where was the concern for escalation when Israel started carpet bombing Gaza? It's not there. It's not there. She still didn't even mention the consulate attack.
You, as a senior Labour figure, on principle, behind the notion that UK jets should be part of working with other countries to help Israel defend itself in this way?
Well, what is clearly important is that actions taken to prevent the Iranian strikes and the drone strikes taking place. So, because this is about, obviously, Israel's security, which is immensely important, but it's also about the security of Jordan, of Iraq, of other partners across the region, and it is about the stability of the Middle East. Obviously, this is at a time we cannot lose focus on the devastating crisis that is happening in Gaza. We also have to have the immense diplomatic effort underway now to prevent further escalation taking place.
Oh, well, now you care about escalation. We've reached the 33,000 mark, right? 33,000 Palestinians have died. And now Labour are concerned about escalation within the Israel-Palestine conflict. Up to now, though, it was fair game and Israel had the right to defend itself. Yeah, they've hit their achievement on Steam for number of innocent lives taken through carpet bombing. And now Labour are like, right, you've had your fun with the genocide. Time to cut it out now. No concerns over escalation before now whatsoever. No discussion about the perils of what's happening. No, nothing. Mealy-mouthed comments from Emily Thornberry indeed as well.
He wants there to be escalation, of course, but that is quite a clear question of principle, though. Are you, as a Labour senior figure, happy for the UK to participate with other countries in Israel defending itself in this way?
Well, again, we do obviously need to wait for what we hear from the government. But look, let's be clear, we support the existing government missions in the Middle East and continue to do so. That is important. We also think that it is important that action was taken overnight to prevent the Iranian strikes on Israel, because we should be clear, if action hadn't been taken to prevent those strikes, we would have seen further escalation and further risk of widening conflict. But this is the most important thing now. The Prime Minister has rightly said that no one wants to see any further bloodshed in the Middle East. But we have also, from the Labour Party, talked, Keir Starmer has talked, David Lammy has talked, Lisa Landy has talked about the importance of preventing wider regional escalation. This is about the security of everybody who lives in all the many different countries across the Middle East, and the risks to them and the international risks of allowing escalation to take place. We know that Iran has a...
And again, I hate to labour the point, future YouTube viewers and current Twitch viewers as well. I hate to labour the point. Again, all of this is well and good, but this is all because Israel feels like it can get away with anything, because it can get away with everything, and why they can bomb Vienna Convention protected buildings and therefore not risk further escalation themselves. Again, no discussion of the Iranian consulate bombing. No discussion at all whatsoever of Israel's role in trying to escalate the conflict. Nothing at all.
Long history of destabilization attempts in the region through its support for Hezbollah, for Hamas, for other actors across the region.
We support Israel that escalates in the region. We literally support, both by selling them weapons and also financing their war effort by buying their weapons. We support the state of Israel in the exact same way, to engage in incursions into the West Bank, land grabs, annexation of territory, construction of illegal settlements. It's very, very rich to talk about Iran funding other groups in the region when we literally do the same with Israel.
Do you support the UK being involved in helping Israel defend itself?
Well, first of all, I think that the news that we've had overnight is extremely concerning, and the top priority for the UK government has to be seeking de-escalation in this situation as far as possible. I know there'll be a UN Security Council meeting later this morning, and I really hope that that will be the UK government's priority. We've seen news, and I know we'll be receiving more news as the morning progresses on what exactly the nature of the UK involvement has been so far. We don't have all that information yet, as far as I understand. I think you'll be aware that as Greens we were calling for a suspension of arms sales to Israel. It's worth noting that the UK provides a pretty small proportion of Israel's total arms. They're a major manufacturer themselves, but given that there is very clear evidence that Israel's been breaking international law, both in Gaza and although this doesn't justify really Iran's response at all, it is worth noting that Israel's attack was on diplomatic premises, which is itself breaking international law.
Okay, well, Carla Denyer for the Greens.
What is that? What's that crazy? What's this I hear? It sounds like I can hear a British politician openly admitting that Israel has broken international law. What a treat! What a novelty! What a novelty to have the Green leader Carla Denyer here explicitly saying and admitting that Israel has broken international law, rather than being mealy-mouthed like Sir Keith Stonger himself, saying things like, "Oh well, I don't want to be the one to judge what the actions of Israel," but when you're very happy to judge Vladimir Putin as breaking international law and being a war criminal. Yeah, when it comes to Netanyahu, we reserve judgment. If you want to find a UK politician that will actually hold Israel to account for committing war crimes, you've got the Green Party for that. Excellent work.
Thanks very much.
Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership to just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.